I'm going to go over how to set up a 2-tray printer that will work with EagleSoft. So if we take a look at this printer, the one that I'm going to be showing you is this Epson ET50 850. Okay, so you can see there's a tray on the bottom, which usually hosts all of your white paper, and then we have a tray on the top that will be for your RX paper. Okay, so the first thing to do is usually you're going to go to your manufacturer's website, and you're going to just basically search for the drivers and utility package. It's different for different printers. In this case, we just found it right here. Okay, so I have downloaded that, and it is right here. So what I usually do is I'm going to right click on this, and then I'm going to click on Run as Administrator. So I'll just go ahead and click OK here. And then we'll go ahead and click on Accept. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just select OK. It is important to allow Windows Firewall to unblock Epson utilities, so I'm going to click on Install. This is just a research participation. You can click yes or no. I'm going to click yes. Not a big deal there. And we'll let it download its scanning software. Okay, and then we'll let it install. Okay, so our printer is already on, and I've already kind of set it up with other workstations. So I'm just going to click on ink has already been charged. So we'll go ahead and click on next, and then it's going to search for our 5850. Okay, so it found it at this IP address. Okay, so 192.168.10.124. That's correct. So I'm going to click on next. and it'll configure the network. And you can kind of monitor the printers as they're getting set up here. Okay, so in this instance, I have another Epson 3850 installed, and now I'm installing the 5850 here. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click on Print to Test Page, and we can go to the printer, and that successfully printed that. I am not going to set up the fax. We don't use fax there, and it might ask for a firmware upgrade. I already have that, so good to go. And then the product registration, you might want to do that for your printer. I've already done that. So, okay, so if you take a look here, there's actually and I'll go ahead and exit out of this product registration by clicking right there, and I'll just exit the registration. Okay, so if you take a look here, and I don't want to do this, and I want to finish there, okay, you can see there's actually two printers that they set up. Now, this isn't always the case. Sometimes they only set up one printer. If that's the case, you might want to add a device, and then see you can choose to add another 5850. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and keep just the two printers, and I'll go back here. So I'll open up printers and scanners. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set this first one up, and we're going to kind of look at some properties here. But I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to go to, first of all, printer properties here, okay? If I take a look at this, first thing I want to look at is the ports, okay? If you look here, this is on a WSD port, okay? Now, if you look at that, the Eaglesoft does not like these WSD ports, okay? So you're probably going to run into errors with this port. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look and figure out what my IP address is. Now remember, we already saw what the IP address is, but I'm going to show you a way to figure out what your IP address is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into File Explorer, and I'm going to go into Network, okay? And you can see here that the 5850 is listed right here. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to Properties, okay? Now, if you look, now take note here, the IP address listed here is a bunch of letters. This is what's called an IP version 6 address, okay? So it can handle way more IP addresses than IP version 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and configure this so that we can use just an IPv4 address. So I'm going to go into the control panel, okay? And then I'm going to go to Network and Internet, okay? And I'm going to go to Network and Sharing Center, and you can see this right here. So I'm going to click on whatever connection is here, okay? And when I go into the properties of my my network, you can see that I have enabled TCP IP version 6. I'm going to uncheck that, and then I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to click on Close, okay? So now when I come back into network, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh, okay, and let's see if we can pick up the IPv version 4 of this printer. So if I go to Properties, it's still there. Okay, so let's see if I can refresh that one more time. And I might go back here, and I might have to open up Windows Explorer completely. But if I go here and I go to Properties, okay, so now do you see here that it's giving me a this address, and it's the exact same address that we had seen at the very beginning. Okay, so I'm going to copy that address, and so I'm going to go back to my printer properties and go back to this port. Now you see this is one that I'm not going to like, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Port, and I'm going to add a standard TCP/IP port, and I'm going to click on New Port. Okay, I'm going to go Next, and it's going to ask for that address. So I'm going to go Next, and I'm going to go Finish, Close, and I'm going to go Apply, and OK. Okay, so now this one should be set up correctly. Now I'm going to go and also go back to printer properties, and I want to name this, and this needs to be standard across your entire office, but I'm going to reduce the name on this as much as possible so that I can identify what type of a printer it is. But then I'm going to, the next words here is the location, okay, and then the last is the tray. So I'm going to set this up for tray 1. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. And then what I'm going to do is, now that I've renamed this, Windows is kind of lost and tried to figure out, I can't figure out where I'm at. So I'm going to come back here. Now, when I go back in here, you can see that it says tray 1. Okay, so now all I need to do is I need to go to Printer Preferences, and I'm going to go to Advanced, and I'm going to choose, well, this one didn't set it up correctly. Okay, so if you're not going into the standard printer preferences of the particular printer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually remove that entire device. Okay, and let's see if this one is set up correctly. So if I go to printer preferences, yes, this is what I'm looking to see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, let's go ahead and go to the printer properties. Okay, this one is on an EP port. Okay, I haven't had a lot of issues with this. You can add it to a TCP port, but I'll show you how to do that. But I haven't had a lot of problems with this type of port. But I'm going to still set it up under a TCP port. TCP/IP port. So I'm going to go click that, and I'm going to go Finish, Close, Apply. Okay, so let's go back and let's see if we're still set up. Okay, so if I go here and I go Printer Preferences, yes. Okay, now the other thing that we are going to do is, this is where the magic happens. Do you see where it says Paper Cassette 1? We're going to be renaming this particular printer to Tray 1. So we're going to grab this from Paper Cassette 1. So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to go into Printer Properties, and then again I'm going to be calling this Clinic Tray 1. Okay, then I'll go back, and you'll see that here is my Clinic Tray 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and add another device. Okay, and you can see I actually have 2 EPs in here. This is the device I want to do, is the 5850. So I'm going to click on Add Device, and let's see if it pulls up with the correct properties there. So it says that it's connecting. Okay, so it couldn't find the driver. Now it's installing the driver. Okay, so it says driver is unavailable. Let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, so, and look, it only connected to the scanner portion of that. So let's just try something real quick and see if we can get it to, maybe it's this, printers. Okay, and you can still see that that this is unavailable, okay, which is good. I'm kind of going through all of the problems that you might encounter. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to click on Remove, click on Yes. Okay, so your other option here is to go in and reinstall the software. So I'm going to go back into my software. Okay, and I'm simply going to run this again. Okay, so we're going to click on OK. Accept. And I'm just going to set up my printer connection again. Next. Okay, found that address. Let's go next. And sometimes this is going to delete that previous one that we had set up. Okay, but let's go ahead and click on next. And then next. And I'm going to skip the fax setup. Okay, so again, we'll go through the project registration. Okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, I'm going to close that. Exit that registration. Okay, so let's skip this and finish. Okay, so now if we take a look, we have one. This is a fax, and here is our next one. So since I don't use the fax here, let's take a look here. Yeah, this is our fax. I'm just going to remove this. I don't need that. Okay, so then this is the one that is now going to be used for a tray 2. So let's see. And you see here, it is set up correctly. So we're going to go paper cassette 2 here, okay? And let's go to our printer properties, okay? And let's just rename this, okay? So this is going to be Clinic Tray 2, okay? And then let's go ahead and click OK. Then we'll go back out. Now do you see we have Tray 1 and Tray 2? Okay, so let's go back into our tray 2 and let's go to our printer properties and let's go to that port. Okay, so this one is also using one of these non-WSD ports. Okay, so let's just verify that both of them are using non-WSD ports. This one is a standard IP port. Okay, so let's go ahead and now that we have both of these set up, we're going to go into EagleSoft, okay, and we're going to go File, Printer Administration, and now we're going to choose the correct one, okay. So I have all of these previous printers set up. I'd really like to keep, it's nice to keep all of your printers installed just as clean as possible. So do you see these 8 HPs that are no longer in use? I'm going to remove all of those. Okay. Here's another HP. We're going to remove that. Okay. Here's another HP. We're going to remove that. Okay. And finally, there's another HP. We're going to remove that. Okay. So now we're kind of getting down to just the ones that we're going to use. So I'm going to go cancel here. I'm going to go File, Printer Administration, and you can see all of those previous HPs that I had set up. They're no longer there. Okay, so we use tray 2 for our white paper. Okay, so I'm going to set up all of my clinic trays here. And so I'm going to choose tray 2 for all of these. And then for my RX paper, that's the one, since it's a smaller tray, I'm going to put that in tray 1. Okay, so let's go in and test out some functionality here. So if I go File, Print, I can print this, and it's choosing out of tray 2. That's exactly what I want. Okay, and no errors there. Do I want to place this monitor? We'll go ahead and click on yes. Okay, so let's just kind of track some other things that we might be having issues with. So let's print a lab case here. Okay. That seems to be working. Okay. No errors there. And so let's print a prescription. See if that works. So that should be coming out of tray 1. So we'll just go ahead and use. Okay. So let's go ahead and click on print. Yes. So that one also printed just fine. Okay. So again, just to kind of recap, it was kind of nice because I went through kind of all of the error messages that I could have gotten. So we know that we need IP version 4. We know that we need to be off of WSD type ports for printers. We set it up in EagleSoft. We went in there and we had the issue that it didn't install both printers correctly. We tried to add another printer. That didn't work, so we just went in and reinstalled the software, and we got it to work. We also know what our naming standards should be for our printers. We know how to set up each tray individually within the preferences. So really, we've gone through all of the steps. Now, this can also apply for any other type of printer that you need to get set up. If that's a Dymo Labor Writer, if that's just a printer that has one tray, you would only be setting up one printer. But make sure that all of your printers are named correctly so it's easy to find them within EagleSoft Practice Management, and make sure you remove all the printers that you're not using.